Hello there, and welcome back to the Fantasy Minecraft 101 series. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the Archer. So the Archer is a class which is obviously focused around range damage, and you really have the choice of using the bow or the crossbow. So normally what I've been doing with these videos is I have a pretty leveled up character and I start a brand new character. I want to try something a little different rather than making a brand new character and going through early game Minecraft every time. Just going to kind of use and demo with the one character. I will say I have had a little bit of difficulty with the Archer. It starts off rather weak, and it's just not really a class that is something that I would normally play. I'm much more of a spellcaster, or a melee type of player. Never really play archers too much. But as I move through it, definitely has a lot of potential. So the first thing, let's just take a look at the Archer origin. Briefly, they are marksmen, so they're trained in bows and crossbows. They deal significantly more damage. I don't know how much damage this necessarily equates to, but I can say that with a bow, this class is very deadly. Most things seem to get one shot even early on in the game, so they do a great job with the bow. Untrained, similar to when we played the Fire Mage, you have 3 less hearts, and inexperienced, you can't really use a sword. So don't expect to take anything out with your sword. Definitely takes a long time. As far as resourceful, it says you can craft more arrows near a fletching table. I have no idea how to do this. So maybe if somebody knows, they can leave me a comment and tell me how to do that. But really never played a role in playing through here, my playthrough. And then you have a quiver, which is kind of cool. You can use your ability, and I don't have a whole lot of arrows right now. I need to stock up. But you can put a lot of arrows in here so you're not taking up valuable inventory space before you get a backpack. It's a very useful thing to have. So let's talk about early game, as far as this Archer. So one of the things that I found is the best thing I think you can do early on is get yourself to a village and a Fletcher. So you start off, with your normal sword and shield. However, the Archer really doesn't do well with early game combat, and you need a bow. And getting a bow, I find making arrows on my own is very annoying. Getting flint and feathers and whatnot. Just get yourself to a Fletcher. Most villages in this mod packs, you'll seem to be able to find significant emeralds, and then you can use those emeralds to buy some arrows from the Fletcher. And a lot of times they'll offer specialty arrows, and you can get, as you level them up, steel arrows or iron arrows or all kinds of different, than your normal arrows, which deal even additional damage. And as soon as you get a bow, it just opens up a whole bunch of power for this character, you will pretty much one-shot everything with your bow. I think your choice is going to be bow or crossbow. I think crossbows are probably slightly better, but again, you deal so much damage, it's not a huge deal, and I just enjoy the RP, if you will, of playing with a actual bow. So I use the bow, but the crossbow you can use as well. I actually tend to keep a crossbow with a bolt loaded in it. So if you pop around a corner or a creeper sneaks up on you and you need to take a quick shot, you can quickly switch to your crossbow and let a round go. And again, because everything kind of gets one shot with the bow, usually it will handle whatever it is that you pop around and encounter. Good for those jump scare kind of creeper situations. So normally early game, and the last two of these videos with the mage and the crusader, priority was getting to a spell table as quickly as possible so you could start using your spells. Really more for the mage. The crusader, it was nice but not super important. The archer has some spells. You make the archery manual, and you can get power shot, which inflicts the target with hunter's mark and increases some damage. It stacks. Entangling roots, I never even bothered to get this, but it conjures some roots, slowing down enemies in the area. Barrage, I do use this one. It fires multiple arrows in quick succession. Arrow rain is kind of your AoE. This is probably, I would say, your most useful. Maybe second would be barrage. And then magic arrow. This pierces through all the enemies in its path. So the one thing I find with the spells is your general normal shot is so powerful, you don't really need them. The one exception I would say is that arrow rain, as it gives you some AoE capabilities, and you can get that through your ranger specialization as well, and we'll talk about that as well. When it comes to the skill tree, again, I am not a big crossbow person, so I didn't put a lot into the crossbows. I kind of focused on anything to do with range damage, move speed, and then you kind of start being able to pick whatever you want. So I went for this stealth thing. If you wanted to go elsewhere, you easily could. I would say the main important one is getting quickfire, which when you can get stacks of marksmanship, which increases your damage, and then sneak. I mean, if you want that, you can get increased damage through getting stacks of might, and then moving towards your path of the ranger. In the path of the ranger, you have several options. You can go with the elemental arrows, which gives you 5 stacks of elemental arrows, and your arrows become elementally enchanted. I've found this to be rather useless. I don't stack any spell damage, and whereas I one-shot most things with a normal arrow, when I get this, it takes multiple shots. It's not even 2 shots, sometimes 3 or 4, depending on the level of the enemy. And then this option over here gives you a 35% chance on kill. This is any kill, not even if you're using the spell, so sometimes you just proc this and then all of a sudden do less damage. So I'll demo this for you, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend using it. And then you can also go for arrow rain or disengage. I'll go through some of these later. I'm going to have to respec the character. I haven't actually tried them out at this point as I'm filming this video. So we'll get into these in a little bit. And then for your Ascendancy, the one ability that seems to be the most offensive is this rapid fire. This is pretty cool. It just lets loose a whole bunch of arrows. You can move around while you're doing it. It's almost like you're shooting a bow machine gun. Very useful against boss style characters and the unique mobs that generate, like the named guys with all the different affixes. Although I will say be careful if you're using the archer and you have somebody with the, I forget what the affix is, maybe it's thorns, but that reflects damage at you, you can basically one-shot yourself. This looks like it's probably also ranged related based on all the ranged damage nodes around it. I haven't used it. I like having more offensive than support abilities. So let's go find some things to kill and demo all these spells and abilities. One thing to talk about before we start demoing these abilities is the Path of the Ranger itself. When you select this, you get Agile, so the less armor you have, the greater the stacks you have, and it grants 5% increased attack speed, move speed, spell haste, range damage, etc. So yeah, it grants all those things. The one thing I just, if you have seen the run speed, this is normal run speed. So you're insanely fast. It's great because you move all over the place so quickly. So we're going to do some combat, and I'll demo all these abilities. Just note I am using Enchanted Bow, but nothing crazy. Just Unbreaking, Arrow Flight, which increases the arrow speed, power, not even max level power, and Infinity. What is that? Can I talk to you? Hello? What are you? Well, I have no idea what that thing is. So these guys are what, level 13? Nothing crazy. So there you can see that procced, and it does not one-shot them when it procs. It does have to be a fully charged arrow. So if you do have it proc and you don't want it to cast, you just don't fully charge your arrow. But you can see I'm one or two shotting these guys. When it's fully charged, it's proccing this stupid thing. It will one-shot them on a fully charged bow. It just keeps proccing this ability. See, there you go. I mean, he wasn't one-shot technically. Oh, I lost my boots. I had really good boots too. Alright, so obviously that's all your basic stuff. I didn't have my spell book on, so that's why it was not proccing Hunter's Mark. So there, that's the Hunter's Mark, so you can kind of see it puts the target on them. You know, it does extra damage, so a lot of times it won't proc because you one-hit a lot of things. But when it does, it's definitely nice to have. So this is going to be the rapid fire. So it shot, I don't know what, 4 or 5 arrows. Again, the problem with the spells is they just, for some reason, don't seem to do the same damage that just shooting the bow does. They kill things almost one shot, one or two shots every time otherwise. Let's do the arrow rain. So that one's nice. If you have large groups of guys, it will hit them all. It's great on like raids. I mean, when you have a raid wave incoming, it will take them all out. Oh, I switched bows. We'll talk about some of the bows you can get. That's the Gale Force. It's one of the ones that's recommended through the quest line for you to craft, and I put flame on it. So it's cool in this mod pack because the torches and like the independent lighting, so you can shoot a flaming arrow and it actually lights up the area. So the last one is this elemental arrow thing. Magic arrow or whatever it is. Nothing crazy. Again, none of these spells are anything that I feel like you could probably make it through the game without ever using them. I find myself rarely using anything other than arrow rain. One thing to note is those frozen arrows, if you just saw that, they sometimes... have I lost all my armor? Wow. Those frozen arrows sometimes do end up homing or something like that. I'm not really sure what causes them to do that or if they're supposed to. Just keep in mind, I tend to forget about it, how quickly your armor goes down. If these were permanent worlds that I planned on playing in, I would have spent the time to get a mending book because I find myself, you can lose your armor very easily. Oh, another thing about the Archer is because this mode has this built-in zoom function, you can kind of snipe. It's easier to do with the bow that doesn't have the auto fire on it. So you can use this, well, whatever you have it bound to, but for me, it's, I think, the default, which is C. And you get pretty decent range. It's kind of cheesy because they can't target you at the range you can hit them from. I haven't tried it on a boss yet. I wonder if that would work. So that was the main 4 abilities from your spellbook. You see if I hit V and activate my class ability there. Those elemental arrows. Now every single one of them is going to be an elemental arrow. Alright, so I'll show you these elemental arrows. Like I said, I kind of think they're somewhat trash. So that one was not an elemental, but it was already 3 shots. That's 3, 4, 5. I think I didn't pull that one long enough, but anyway, you can see like it takes a ton of shots from the elemental arrows to do anything. Whereas if you don't cast it with the elemental, it's pretty much 1 to 2. So I would generally consider those to be useless. Now I'll show you the Ascendancy ability if I can spawn somebody. Here we go. Come on. Where'd you go? There you are. So see, I'm moving around, it's casting. Ah, there's an instrument guy. I love the instrument guys. But that ability is pretty cool, and it's not, I don't think, reducing the damage of the arrows because I think it just counts as normal shots. So that X ability, that Ascendancy ability, is quite useful. Yeah, it's definitely a full strength cast. I mean, that was only one of those hit that last guy there. So that is kind of the abilities in a nutshell, anyway. I would also say one thing I've found from doing these videos, and every time I do one of these videos, I make a new world and a new character. So finding a structure like this that has spawners, very useful, because it takes a decent amount of time to level my way through this whole tree, and now I'm about to actually reset it. This will stay, I believe, but the points in here will stay, but all these points will get wiped out. So in order to reset this and demo the next thing, I'm going to have to spend a lot of time here, probably. So let's talk equipment. The normal thing I do is identify what stats I'm looking to affect, and then look at what my options are. If you're looking at armors that can boost your range damage, it seems you really only have two main choices: your archer hoods, or your archer gear, and your ranger gear. So the archer gear is very basic. This is what I was wearing before I let it all get broken. Just leather and chains. So if you hear all the cows mooing annoyingly, get yourself a little cow farm early in the game, and you can make these things very easily in enough quantities where you just make a bunch of them, roll them till they're all legendary, and then enchant them up, and it makes a very good set. It's light armor, so your agility still takes effect, and you move really, really fast. The ranger gear requires a little bit of extra stuff, scutes and rabbit hide, and other than that, it's very similar. The major difference between them is, let's just compare the two leggings. This is 3 armor and 5% range damage, whereas this is 3 armor, 8% range damage, and an increase to your draw speed. So I forget what I needed. Let's make leggings and boots. And boom. It doesn't look great with my skin that I have on because I got the red, so it looks a little bit like Christmas colors, but there it is. And this procced with speed, durability, some dodge. This looks like melee damage, not great. Max health, which I really appreciate. I don't have any other rabbit hides right now, or I would just re-roll these for a little bit and make some more. As far as bows are concerned, you really can get away with just using a basic bow and a basic crossbow, but you have a ton of options. I mean, I'm not going to go through all these. Again, like, some of these load 3 arrows. You have the trick shot bow someplace in here, which shoots multiple arrows. Some of them come enchanted already. Just take a look at them, see which ones you think are cool. The one I made is a Gale Force because it is an archer quest. So you can go down to Archery Room, and one of the quests is Craft the Gale Force. So this has some cool abilities. You grant speed after you fire it. It's actually between that and the agility spell, you can outrun your own arrows, which is weird. And then it has an ability be keybind to dash in a direction while firing the arrow at the last target you attacked, dealing more damage. That's actually a really cool ability. I think when I respec, I'll demo that for you guys as well. The other major class ability for the archer is the arrow rain, similar to the other abilities, it's a little bit underwhelming. Its power does not seem to scale with the bows that you're using. So it deals either magic damage, which doesn't scale because I don't have magic power, or it just doesn't scale in general. I'm not really sure why. And it's also somewhat hard to aim. So it tends to miss guys at closer range, and then the range you need to get away from them is not practical in most situations other than outdoors. It is a very cool looking ability. Unfortunately not very useful. So the other ability that I'm not going to demonstrate is Disengage. So Arrow Rain and Elemental Arrows are both combat abilities, offensive abilities. Disengage is more of a defensive ability. It seems to scale with melee damage and give you some bonuses to your pets. However, it's not something that I feel like using. And while we're on the topic of pets, although I'm a big fan of the wolves, I think they're adorable in the game. They definitely don't hold up well. So when you're a ranged character, they tend to get in front of your arrows, and every time I have one, they seem to just get shot. So they're a cool mechanic. I wish it could work a little bit better. Maybe if there wasn't friendly fire damage. Unfortunately, my wolves continually get shot. So I tend to just leave them, just like kind of in vanilla Minecraft, on my base or in my base as just a cute little pet you can have. They do have a lot of cool animations in this mod. And there are abilities which will buff them. And your abilities down here buff them a lot. And it does make them a little bit more resilient. But because your arrows do so much damage, it still seems to one-shot them anytime they accidentally get hit. So I did a raid and my wolf got shot. I did a boss, my wolf got shot. They just seem to get shot a lot. So unfortunately, not as useful as I wish they would be. I think one thing worth noting for the archer is that in the villages you can find the Archery Artisans, and they can carry all of the archer gear along with some very good bows. I think the royal bow is probably one of the better bows you can get. As far as regular bows, it's enchanted, which is helpful. I don't know what else they can carry as a crossbow, or if these are their only two options, but either way, they give you enchanted bows and archer items. If you don't feel like crafting these, they can, I believe, roll the boots as well. You can get scoots, so you can craft the rangers. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you can get rabbit hides from them or something, but I'm not positive. But when you do find them, they tend to spawn in these archer tower looking things. All the villages have some variant of it, but they usually are a two-story kind of building with a little bit of an archery range near them. So they can be pretty easy to spot. And they have this Archery Artisan table, which doesn't seem to do anything similar to the fletching table, but it is the job block for these. I don't know what he was doing there, for these villagers. Well, I think that basically wraps it up for the archer. Again, thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts or feedback, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Although, in summary, I do think this is a very powerful class with the bow. Its abilities are somewhat lackluster, other than using them for AoE purposes, and don't seem to scale with the damage if you're just using your normal bow shot. So I find myself not using any of the spells or the abilities other than the X ability, which just rapid fire shoots your bow, so it can be very useful. Outside of that, I enjoyed the mage and the paladin a little bit more, but that could just be playstyle preference. But I did think they were more well-rounded and generally handled bosses easier. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Yeah, hit that one.
I hope I spawn at your base. Daddy?
Yeah?
If I don't spawn at your base, can I, oh, I spawned at your base, so it's okay.
Alright, let's give the old champion a try. Evil. I don't even know what's going on right now. Apparently we one-shot the old champion, but then this guy is... I can't even see him. Is he dead? Huh. Okay. Don't even know how I did that. So I believe we one-shot the the old champion. That was interesting. Oh, no, he's not dead. Now I think he's dead. No, maybe not. Wow. Is that it? Well, that was anticlimactic. Anyone that's fully charged anyway. And that's 2 shots. 3 shots. I'm gonna die.